let's get rolling. You heard that beat right there? That was the theme song intro. Okay, so let's get rolling. Live at 12% because my phone is at 12%, and just got finished going to my customer's house who are out of town, and they're out of town, and I went over there to take out their garbage. I'm here at the garbage dump right now. Just got done with that, and went over there to make sure all their mail and Amazon orders were all inside. They had probably 8 Amazon orders. I'm telling you, everybody's just constantly ordering stuff off of Amazon, just ordering stuff in general. Like everybody, especially all my customers, a lot of them have really good careers and they have really decent lives, in my opinion. They're not struggling, and one of the things consistent with a lot of the customers that I deal with is that I work for and work with are they do pretty good. They're always ordering stuff off of Amazon. I was just noting the color here. If I could brand Stardust Simulation, it would be like this color, like this. Especially with the sky. It's darker than what it looks like. But so I just thought I would, and I got one of those old purple lights to my right that a few years back when all the lights were purple. Got one of those shining at me from the right. Bear with me for just a moment as I go through the traffic intersection here. I want to make sure I stay focused on the road more than anything. But yeah, live and on brand today. I am on brand. I look like everything's on brand right now. So yeah, I'm headed back home. It'll just take me a couple minutes to get back home. Thought I would jump on a live here and just talk about some stuff. First thing that's on my mind is my old buddy that came into town that I haven't seen since maybe 2006, 2007 maybe. He came into town, and I'll talk about that in a moment. And next thing I'm gonna talk about, but before I talk about that, I just want to say this week, especially, I have been presented with a certain reality fractal that I really don't want to talk about on here, but I will talk about it in the private group. And actually this week I made several videos, and some of them I did not upload. Some of them I did upload, then I set the settings to private so I could listen to them first and to unlisted as well. And so I kept some of them up, and I don't want to manifest more of a fractal if that is what is happening, right? And if you're new here, one of the things we have talked about on here is the manifesting and generating reality, as we talk about being reality generators and on here. And while we talk about that, I always try to express the idea that I am not necessarily a believer. I want to make it clear that my quote-unquote beliefs at this point in my life are mostly speculation and driven by logic, just observation more than anything. And it's a thing that I try to keep tucked away I would say tucked away in the back of my mind, but I do actually kind of keep it at the forefront of my mind as something to be conscious of and aware of, just in case it is true, right? I want to make sure, that if things that I do believe, like manifesting, for example, if there is some kind of means that we manifest or generate our reality, and with also the ability of manifestation, I want to make sure that I don't manifest anything bad. So I kind of keep that at the forefront of my mind, just to, you know, make sure. And so, so yeah, I have deleted some videos and, you know, and whatnot, and I wanted to talk about that. And so there's so many topics that I wish I could talk about more. And then sometimes I say, well, I'm going to talk about this topic in the future. I'm going to make a video about it at some point in the future. Like I say that. Sometimes I don't get back to making the video. Sometimes I do. And it's just hard for me to keep up with so many, you know, things to talk about. And a lot of the time I feel mentally distracted, right, by everything around me. I feel like that I am distracted by things, and it feels like ADHD, right? And oftentimes when I'm making videos, like, I feel the pressure of needing to get shit done. Like, there's been times where I'll make a long video, be like an hour long, and I'm just like, wait a minute. I could have been using that hour to sweep my floor and wash the dishes, and I feel like it just takes away from my time, right? And then, you know, it's I gotta pick, you know, what's gonna make me feel good, to let what I feel and what I'm thinking, that energy, kind of to let it out, and neglect one thing. One thing's got to be neglected. I just have to choose which thing I'm going to neglect at any given point. That's just basically what it is. I have to pick which thing that I'm going to feel, you know, the pressure of it either way. Which one do I neglect today, right now, you know, at this moment? And then I'll get back to it at some point, you know. So I did want to talk about, I'm almost home already, but I'll be there in less than a minute probably. So I did want to talk about how my buddy came into town that I haven't seen since 2006 maybe, and we have not been in touch really. In November I sent him a happy birthday message, and he said thanks, replied thanks, but we don't talk, we don't interact at all. No calls, messages. But he's a twin brother of my other buddy that lives in town. And so when he came into town, his twin brother told me that he was going to let me know that when he come into town, that way we could possibly link up. And never heard from him. Never heard from the one that lives here. He never hit me up, and neither did the other guy. And so, as far as I'm concerned, then that means we're no longer friends. Like, and not, you know, not in a bad way. Just he's someone that does not care enough about me to reach out to me and let me know that he's in town. And you know, he's not someone that, you know, wants to link up with me. And so therefore, since that's the case, then I just don't consider us friends anymore. He was an old friend, and nothing against him. It's just, it kind of made me sad a little bit, you know, that he didn't want to talk. And you know, it did make me kind of sad, but it is what it is, and sometimes that just happens with people. People move on, you know, they don't see you as someone they want to reach out to or talk to. You're not important enough to them, and you know, it's good. You know, I will say this, just give me a moment. we're going to take a break. I'm going to put you on pause for a moment. I got to do something with my truck. So I will return. It may take a few minutes. Getting a text message from nope, not anybody. Yeah. Oh, that's fine. I talked to him earlier. And about to be back. All right. So we're going to go inside my place and I'm going to heat up the pizza as I talk and maybe try to possibly plug in my phone. I think I left the charger here. So, yeah, that dude, he never, like, he was going to reach out to me, and so I met my buddy in the parking lot. I saw him in the parking lot, but I got to tell you the story about his wife and how like we were all friends, and he was working at the same restaurant as me, and I don't know if I still work there or not. And he was bussing tables. And if you don't know what bussing tables means, it just means that you roll a cart around and you pick up all the dishes off the tables to take them back to the washroom. And that was his main job. And we all worked at that same place. So one day, this lady comes in there with her two nieces, or her daughter and her niece, and she sees my friend and leaves her niece's phone number on the table for him to call her. And he was just like a stranger, right? So he calls her up. And on a date, and and then suddenly he didn't have a place to live at some point or something like that. I don't know exactly what happened, but he didn't have a place to live, and I'm gonna put you right there. You're gonna have to listen to me audibly. So he didn't have a place to live or something, and so he immediately goes to live with her. And she's still living with her parents. um, her dad owns like one or two businesses on the property. There's a mechanic shop, and her dad primarily owns a towing company. Well, he my buddy, he works a regular job at first, like at this place rebuilding alternators. Somehow, I believe it was one of his dad's friends, and so he's rebuilding alternators. But eventually, he starts work for the towing company. So then they get married. Eventually, her dad passes away, and my buddy inherits the towing company. So he was very similar, situation as I, except he randomly ended up meeting a girl. And what's up? Got kicked off because of the signal. Bear with me for a moment as I try to position this device, and I'm gonna try to get my pizza ready, my frozen pizza ready for dinner. So I'll get back on topic real quick. So, as I was trying to say before we got disconnected, I was trying to explain that, like, my buddy, he inherited the business after her dad died, and he was in a I still arguably was in a worse situation than him, because his dad at least knew people around town, but I didn't, know people like that. But his dad did, and I'm pretty sure that kind of helped him in some ways, probably. And I want to acknowledge that over the years, throughout the years, 99% of the time, whenever I've had a need for a tow, he has never charged me, right? 99%. I think one time I convinced him to let me pay him something, or he charged me like $40 for one tow one time, and that was about it. So he's been really good to me over the years. But here's what happened back in the day. Here's what happened to me back in the day. When he first got with that girl, she did not know me, and we got another mutual friend who is my best friend today. And all three of us grew up around each other, and we were kind of like buddies like that. And but immediately she detested and despised us for no reason. For no reason, she didn't know us or anything, and she didn't have any valid reason to assume anything. But she hated us. She said that we were going to convince him to go to strip clubs and get involved in all kinds of debauchery and stuff. And so she was basically narcissistically weeding people out, right? And so she called us crap, and my buddy was going to make me the best man at his wedding, right? But since she was just so vehemently, just hated me and the other guy for no reason, and she didn't even know us. What ended up happening was me and my buddy, who did nothing wrong, we decided that we did not want to go to their wedding because we felt kind of like disrespected. And I've been over to their house before after the fact. Finally, I started talking to him again. He stopped talking to us. And eventually got to the point where you know, kind of like made amends or whatever. But ultimately, his wife never said anything about it. She never apologized, about her prejudging us. She never. It's almost like it's an unspoken thing, and so basically, our buddy put this girl before us as friends and decided that getting with her was a better option, and she's made Facebook posts where she says things like, "Oh, I'm so thankful I'm with my best friend," and at times it almost feels like it was like this unspoken competition between us and stuff. You know what I mean? Not that I was participating. It was almost like after something like that, it almost kind of feels like they're trying to word it in a way to rub it in your face, like that they won or something. That's a narcissistic tendency, right? Um, I don't think she is a narcissist, but those are some things that humans do, right? Um, and uh, so it's never been brought up by her. She never come back and said, "Hey, I was wrong about you guys, and I want to make sure I want to see if y'all are cool with me and I'm cool." No, that's never come up. We just kind of slowly started hanging out with my buddy again, and then occasionally I would go over to their house occasionally. But I'm not part of his life really, or his friend groups, or I don't get involved with them at all. The only times I've ever talked with him was a couple times we got lunch over the years, 2 or 3 times maybe, and even then at times he would pay for it, right? Uh, and but I hardly ever get invited. Like, oh yeah, it's probably been, oh man, it's probably been 5 or 6 years since I like actually went over to their house. Like, oh, actually, no, I have been over to their new house, but it was like to do some tasks or work or something like that. Um, like one time I went over his house to blow off the roof with my backpack blower. And so we've remained relatively cordial, but um, the whole time it's made it an awkward experience. So when I talked to my buddy at Walmart a couple weeks ago, and I was talking to him, and he said his brother was coming into town. His wife eventually came. He was sitting in the parking lot. His wife came out, and she sat in the car. I didn't know what to say. I never know what to say around her. Really, like it's always for me. It feels awkward. I don't feel like I need to try to bring it up either. I don't feel like I should try to like. I don't know. Like she has no interest. Like normally when you're around people, they'd be like, "Hey, how's it going?" And so I said, "Hey, how's it going?" Normally people will just act friendly and cordial, right? And uh, around each other, but it's not even like that. I don't even pick that up coming from her, like, and so I feel really awkward. I don't think it's necessary for me to try to make any amends. So it kind of got awkward, and I said bye to my friend, and then I said bye to her, and I walked off, and something felt off about that too, like, and so I predicted that I would not get a call from them. I predicted that, so and I didn't, and I was right. I kind of felt maybe like something's off about that, but anyways, I do believe in bros before hoes, so that's what I believe, and so not going to apologize for that. If a girl walks in, if you got some friends that are being your longtime friends, and a girl walks into your life, and she immediately just judges your friends and by default just assumes BS about them, and judges them, and makes a big fuss about them, and there's no even what it was. She's just like a girl that wants to fit in, and we were just a couple. I was visibly, I've always been poor financially. I've been a poor person most of my life, and well, all of my life, and so drive old vehicles, wear not so new clothes, and so when she she just thought we were a couple of weirdos. We're not the cool kids, you know what I mean? And she wants to make sure that she crafts an image that paints, her life out to be like a certain way, and by including us in her life, then that would taint that image. So that's the way it went. So I'm not surprised that he never reached out, and that's the way it goes, and that's the way it goes. All right, that's all I got to say about it. I appreciate y'all watching. Those that did, Sarah, Elite Gomez dos Santos. Qué bueno, qué bueno. All right. Bienvenido y gracias por mirar este video, and y'all have a good evening.